Crossover time brought to you by California Academy of Sciences. Every visit supports the Academy's mission to regenerate the natural world. It's tough to read when I hear somebody whispering in my ear. Nevertheless, learn more and reserve your ticket at calacademy.org. Yeah, I can hear everything you're saying.
No, it was nonverbal communication that was partially verbal.
Omaha.
Thank you.
And it was on me because I was saying
I know.
I did that once. It was the first time I ever cussed on the air as a radio person because I was whispering, but I thought the mic was totally off.
What were you saying?
I was referring to my partner. This was when we were doing play-by-play for minor league baseball.
Okay.
I was referring to my partner jokingly as a BSer, but I was stating the actual full word.
Oh, wow.
Like he was talking, and I was heckling him, and we were laughing, and I was calling him a BSer, and the mic was just like one of those old Comrex machines.
Hot mic.
Yeah, and it was just a tiny bit up, and I thought it was completely off. And, that apparently was audible to some.
Well, it's funny because a swear word was, around a swear word was when I first learned that you're a pretty good guy, despite some things. You remember?
I do remember. I don't remember what made me a good guy.
I'll tell you what made me a good guy.
Or why you thought otherwise beforehand.
We were having an argument.
Okay.
And
this does not automatically make me a bad person. But
in my mind, it does.
Okay, that's fine.
And you said something like da-da-da, and I said, I don't give a...
Oh, yeah, I do
And I
remember
said
that.
the S word.
So what did I do that made me a good guy?
You looked right at Evans like, cut. And I was like, you know what? If he were a jerk...
He would have let that fly.
Just let it fly.
Watch it fly.
Exactly.
So you're
correct.
Sounds like all right.
So in other words, you're still here because of me.
Or just that I've recognized. Yeah, maybe.
Okay. All right.
Although I don't think you get fired for that.
No, not one S-bomb.
Let's push that
know.
on.
You get to start a file.
Exactly. That's one of those things that they fire you for if they actually want to already fire you.
Fair.
It's kind of like, right, look at NBA players. Look at what the stuff we've talked about all year. I mean, there are certain Warriors, I hate bringing this up because let's please not talk about it, but if there are certain Warrior players, if they punched a teammate, they'd have gotten cut.
Okay.
They'd have gotten cut by the nighttime.
No doubt.
Right? And then other players, they don't. So, yeah.
We had Steve Weiss on.
I heard it.
And Krugs. Larry Kruger will be in with Dibs tomorrow.
Yep.
And
my 8th grader's graduating.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that's why I'm out.
And what's his or her? I forget.
her?
You're 3.
Yeah, her. There are 3. It's the middle. It's the daughter.
This is kind of what we're like.
I love
and
this.
is God love progress, I guess. No chance my parents went to my 8th grade graduation.
Mine did. Alvarado.
Mine did too.
Did we even have it?
St.
Yeah.
Rita's, the now defunct St. Rita's school in Fairfax. Yeah,
Lovely
they both
Rita's.
came in.
I hate that for you, Steiny.
It was a full mass
Mary
too.
and them didn't
St.
show
Rita's.
up.
Well, they
Yeah.
were teachers too,
Oh,
so
okay.
they had their own stuff going.
Full mass.
Pops
Well, Willard,
never
I don't
came
want
see
to get
me
in your
play either,
pockets,
but I don't want to get into
But
that.
these two gentlemen, my mentors, when my son was graduating high school, I didn't know how much to give him. So I said, what's going to be? And they gave me their, what they did.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go
And I
ahead.
just felt good.
What does everybody think? For middle school. For middle school now.
I didn't do middle. This
So
was high
for your
school.
daughter?
It was
Yeah.
$500 for high school. I did.
$100. Middle school's a hundo. I was
Yeah,
thinking
that's
clean
true.
100.
See, I'm
See,
leaning
no.
I'm leaning more towards Steiny. And part of the reason is this.
really did nothing.
Well, it's
You better graduate.
I
You
actually,
showed up with a pulse, basically.
I actually even pulled my oldest son aside the other day, and I go, "Hey, you remember what I got you for your 8th grade graduation?" Because I was sitting there going, "I can't even remember what I did." And he goes, "Yeah. You bought me that tailor-made spider putter that I wanted." And I go, "Oh, that's right."
There you go.
I ran
About
in the
$249.
I ran in the other room and Googled how much it cost because I couldn't even remember what it cost. I go, okay, I got a little bit of a sense of what to.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah. And my daughter and she's been doing this tongue in cheek.
What grade she in?
8th grade.
Okay.
She's
She's
in 8th grade.
graduating.
Oh,
Yeah,
she's
she's the one graduating.
all right.
She's
Long
she's
day.
been like, "What are you
5
getting me?
minutes, dude.
What are you getting me?" Like it's going to sound super snooty, but it's tongue in cheek. Like, "What do you get me?" Because you got to tell me so that you don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Don't mess it up. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not going to mess it up because I'm not shopping for you.
Sure.
You shop for you.
And there it is.
You shop for you.
Cash rules.
Yeah, exactly.
I would give
Rules
my
everything around me.
Cream, get the money, dollar bill, y'all.
thank
I
you.
gave my kids
Method man.
money every report card, so I came with an
wow.
extra 100. If you got straight
You paid
A's,
for
you got
A's?
100. I
Okay.
paid for grades, And
Sort of like the wife.
well, and
Not
everyone
me.
says, "Oh, you shouldn't pay him for grades." Well, the moment I started paying for grades, my son got straight A's every single year.
Amen.
So
There
he
you
was
go.
all about that cash.
Norm would never do that, but
Nor
my
would
wife
my
did
parents,
it.
but if they paid me for grades, they wouldn't give me $1.
Well,
It's almost like
'cause
a
I got bad
bribe, though.
grades.
It is that.
Norm
But you-
had
as a-
fear in me to where I had to
Well,
do it. Or
as a parent,
It's not a
Adrian
bribe. It's
Peterson,
an
when you got
incentive.
home.
It's much like if you hit 1,000 yards. Like Sam Darnold's got a contract where he's got a base
incentives.
salary, and
Yep.
if Sam Darnold throws a certain amount of passes, if Sam Darnold does well enough, any of these baseball players, if I get 500 at bats, I get this.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Norm did
when
that
you're
to
dealing
me
with a
in
middle school
CYO
kid.
for rebounds and points.
Right.
I was
trying
going
to
say,
get me to the league.
my-
Didn't work out.
my parents started
He didn't
paying-
spend a lot of chicken.
My parents wanted me to swing at Little League. You know how Little Leaguers won't. They're
Were you
stepping
one
in the
of them,
bucket.
Willard?
They're stepping in the bucket.
Especially when you face Ben Igo.
afraid of the. Thank you, afraid of the ball. And so they finally. My mom, sweet thing. It was like they set up an incentive structure for home runs, triples, doubles, and singles, and then it got so bad one year they're
got
like,
so
we'll pay you for a foul ball. I mean, for crying out loud.
contact!
They're like, just swing the bat. And I'm over there fouling things off the fence. And just a cha-ching.
Which you
cha-ching.
deserve
I'm
nothing
like,
for,
I know. I'm like,
right.
well, I figured out. I'm like, I could make more for 6 foul balls
Totally.
than I can for a double.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I mean, I was over there. The funniest story was one time I hit an inside the park home run, and my dad was the third base coach. And he said it crossed his mind as I was
To
coming
hold
to
you
third.
up.
It's like, I think I should hold him because I'm going to have to pay him another $4 if he makes it home.
This is what life's about. Those stories.
But he
right
sent
there.
me,
Yeah.
and I was safe, and I got paid. So there
Oh,
you go.
man.
Paid in full.
That was-
Eric B. and Ruckham.
You guys didn't hear the beginning of the show,
you.
did you?
No, I heard you guys
Heard-
got into it.
Heard
I
about
didn't.
it.
I didn't.
There was not.
Heard
I
about
wasn't
it.
into it today.
Heard about it.
No?
No, not really.
He tricked me, but I
Well, that's
had
what
to.
Steiny
I had
does.
to self-analyze what was going on with me and
Exactly.
Chris Paul, and I don't want him anywhere near the Warriors. I
I'm
don't think
with
the
you.
Warriors don't want him. And he kind of tricked me into saying something that he did put a disclaimer on. I kind of don't like it, but he fought me like it was in his heart. And I was Catfish Johnson today because I hook, line, and
Nice.
sinker. And I went crazy. But I went crazy on Chris Paul because he breaks my heart because I want him to not have his daughter get ridiculed and bullied at school because he hadn't won a chip. But his body is still a Cadillac. It just breaks down at the most inopportune time, which is the playoffs. And why would anybody want
So
it?
Well,
wait,
let me.
Yeah, what's the catfish?
okay, here it
What-
is,
Yeah,
here it
what,
is.
what
Oh, okay.
happened? What happened?
So
Thank you.
I've been steadfast. The Warriors are in a tricky spot. You say, let's
Yeah.
see Lake pull the rabbit out of the hat this time. They're, it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't like a lot of their choices. I don't want to sign Draymond for 3 years. I don't want to lose him right now either. You're going to get worse. And so there's a school of thought that is the run it back. Draymond's going to be here. Clay's going to be here. Kerr's going to be here. Keep the window open as much as you can. Do it. Well, if you're putting all your eggs in that basket, why wouldn't you make a call to Chris Paul?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
Jordan Poole?
I can answer this.
Well,
about
you're
5
losing. You've
different
already
ways.
lost Jordan
Oh,
Poole.
well, we think.
Well,
but the
but-
premise was, what if But
The premise is you've lost Jordan Poole. And
okay,
Jordan Poole,
I got some for you,
Jordan
Dibs.
Poole wants to be
Before you go,
elsewhere.
Willard.
And,
Yeah.
if you're going to lose Jordan
Okay.
Poole and or Kuminga
All right.
and maybe the draft pick, and you're going to get a couple of other veterans in exchange for those guys, you might as well
Steiny
throw in
thought I
another
was
veteran.
Okay, but what about this? It's all about ego and brand. I don't think Chris Paul looks at himself like I'm a bench rider. I think his next
Agreed.
gig is I'm going to be the point.
You know how many games he's come off the bench in his career?
How many?
Zero.
Oh, wow.
The answer is
That I
zero.
did
Well, he's
not
going to
know.
get 30 assured starts here.
Well,
Well, I think he's 1242
But
for
Willard,
1242 is
he
the
ain't
number.
coming here
I
to
looked
come
it up
off the bench
yesterday.
to step.
I
That's just,
I doubt he
and
would.
I went
but,
off.
But there's a real quick. I feel like there's a few different ways we could answer what you're saying, Steiny. When you say, okay, if you're going to go, what you're basically saying is, if you're going to go veteran heavy,
Yes.
you're going to do the running back thing. Why wouldn't you want Chris Paul? My answer was because I think you're answering that based on the name we know rather than the player you'd get. Chris Paul is not Chris Paul anymore. The answer why you don't do it is because Chris Paul is not very good at basketball anymore. I don't know.
That's a stretch.
It's not a stretch.
How far is he off?
The Phoenix
He's probably
Suns,
CP 2.5.
No, he's CP.
Thank you.
He's
Just look at the numbers.
No.
The guy played 30
Come
minutes
on.
a game last year.
right, and he scored 14. Look,
What about if he plays
Assists.
20
Alvarado
minutes a game?
ruined
Exactly.
2 years
the
ago,
Suns think they're in a championship window,
and they
don't
said bye,
want him.
night,
Well,
night. Get
they
out of here.
don't
We'll pay
want
you to
him.
leave.
We don't know
He's-
that yet.
What do you
Yeah, we
mean?
do. I believe Chris.
Come on,
Haynes.
Steiny. What do you mean by
By
that?
doing what they're doing, they're saying he's due $60 million, 30 and 30.
Yeah.
So if he's not on the roster on July 1st or whatever it is, then they only owe him $16 million.
Right.
So
then they can bring him
50%
back.
guaranteed.
And then
And they
I
can
think
bring him
that's what
back.
they're going to try to do.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I
But he's not a Willard, I'm like you. He is the old Studebaker with a bad tranny.
And by the way, my gosh, a horrible defensive player at this point in his career.
Oh, my goodness.
legitimately.
Still better than Jordan Poole.
Not. No, I disagree. He's
Facts.
not. He's Jordan
Those
Poole.
are facts.
He's the same.
He's
and he's
the
old.
same, but
He's a
turnstile.
38-year-old version of
every
Jordan
bit
Poole.
of it. Every bit
Yeah.
of it.
No, Steiny, yeah, I hear you.
Every bit of
He's
it.
not good. Did
Willard,
you
I'm
watch
with-
the Suns this year? He's
I
not
watched
good.
him.
He's not
Oh,
good.
man.
So I'm like, I don't know what it is you think you'd be getting. And I know.
I said, Steiny, it's not 2012.
You need to admit to them your personal bias against him.
I
You
totally
mentioned
dislike the
yesterday.
guy. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
That has to be entered into the record again.
And I started with that yesterday.
Willard, but you're not by
Yesterday.
yourself. He
Yeah.
rubs a lot of people wrong.
Yeah, I'm just not
But
a
I
fan.
am rooting for him because I
I'm
know
not a fan.
He's been chasing it, Dibs. And when he shared with us, and I hate that he did, about what his daughter's going through, she's getting bullied because of her
Sure.
now. I was kind of like, okay, I could see Phoenix do it when they got Durant, but he's shot. If I could use that word,
I
he's
think
shot.
he's completely shot.
led the league in assists a year ago.
Exactly. And,
we're going to do a year ago. What were the Warriors a year ago?
Well, he averaged
And
9
now
assists
we're
a game.
trying to fix them.
9
I think
assists a game.
They
I
were
mean, boy.
champions 11 months ago. But we got all kinds of problems with them. So I can have a problem with Chris Paul now, even though I didn't 11 months ago.
I'm saying
he's
I'm
not
viewing him
good.
I'm viewing him as a backup point guard.
Okay.
That's exactly how I'm viewing him.
Right.
And
and
a
I-
spot starter when Steph's hurt.
And I think you're probably right. I don't know this. You guys are probably right that he has no interest in that.
No, that's how
I would think.
It's not, and that's what
but
you
what does he
don't
have
to know.
interest in now? If
I don't know.
Starting.
I don't know. Thanks, buddy.
Look,
He said people
We
got to look
can't-
in the mirror. Steiny said that.
I'm not saying, he would take a lesser role, but I have no idea that he looks in the mirror and says, I'm still a 36-minute per game player.
I mean,
Willard,
you know,
I would
but you
bet
know
that
Chris.
that's what he is.
You know Chris.
Everybody.
you don't know Chris Paul.
We kind of do.
You're
I-
listening to
Chris, dude, you
95.7.
preaching.
Legal. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM, and HD1 San Francisco, an Odyssey station.
You sounded like Luda. No, he said
we
legal.
talked about Luda earlier.
I mean, we know who Chris has been in this league, and it seems difficult to imagine that this person suddenly will see himself in a completely different light. In fact, think of how he's going about doing this. The story on ESPN right now is, the Suns and Chris Paul are getting together to discuss his future. Well, anybody who does that obviously thinks very, very highly of themselves. Bench role players don't get to meet with the organization to discuss their future. They just get shown the door.
And you're passing the ball now to Booker and Durant. How easy can the job get? So why would Steiny? I believe he's coming back at lesser pay.
Okay.
I just don't think he's very effective.
I'm
and
totally with you.
and if you do bring in the hated one, my gosh, you better be effective. Because if you bring in the hated one, you were already emotionally
He was
shot,
number one on the list.
and then he
Dibs.
doesn't play well.
Are you saying Chris Paul is the hated one?
Yeah, him
Yeah.
and Harden
Okay.
from Dub Nation.
Is
Okay.
one of is he not one of the Warriors fans' most hated players
Warriors
right now?
fans. I mean, I'm not concerned about the Warriors fans at all in this conversation.
you're-
It's what does Draymond, Steph, and Clay think about Chris Paul?
Well, what do you think about that?
It doesn't matter what the
Well,
Warriors fans
Oh,
think.
it totally does.
Not
Of course
really.
It does. You're an
The
entertainment
Warriors fans
entity.
want Jordan Poole to still be here, and
No,
if they
but-
trade Jordan Poole, how many fans are going to give up their season
Look,
tickets?
Dibs, the Giants.
The
are
answer
not-
is zero.
The Giants are not hiring AJ Pierzynski to be their announcer any day soon. Like, yes, you do. You don't need to take the
Right.
fans' opinion on roster building, but yes, your customers have to be a part of your conversation when you are bringing in something that they don't like.
This is not Dylan Brooks, as I mentioned to you yesterday. Dylan Brooks is
next
the
level.
hated one.
I'm actually like Dylan Brooks.
It's literally the next level.
I think it's
Dibs,
multiple
there's
levels
been two
down from
iterations
that.
of Chris Paul. The Rockets, he had him down 3-2. It was masterful.
Right.
And then he tore his hammy, and they lost that. Then the L.A. Lob City. Stein's like, they're both from Charlotte. They're friends. I didn't know. Okay.
Steph crossed him over and he fell down. It's
you
great.
Think he wants to come off the bench here? Nah.
Well, here are the odds for Chris Paul's next team, as released by Jimmy Shapiro, friend of the program.
Oh, beautiful.
The Lakers are 3-1. The Mavericks are 4-1. Boston's 5-1.
see Boston.
The Clip Joint and the Heat are 6-1. The Pels are 7-1. Philly's 9-1. Then it's the Warriors and T-Wolves at 10-1.
That's about
Then New York, Chicago, and San Antonio.
Did I miss? Is Memphis
Donnie,
on the
I like
list?
that.
Memphis is not on the list
That's
as
interesting.
released by
John's
Jimmy
gonna be on
Shapiro,
'cause of
according to betonline.ag.
To me,
He would have to do more with no job.
no, but to me, that's the team. Now, I don't know if Ja's
Boston's the team.
I don't know if Ja's losing 30 games or 82, but
50.
whatever it
I'm with
is,
you, Dibs.
whatever it
50.
is, if it's 50, like Chris looks at Memphis and goes, okay, I can start for half the year, and Memphis goes, that's actually the voice in the locker room we need. We need a jerk in his 30s.
But they're not close to winning what
Exactly.
he's talking about his daughter getting
They're
ridiculed
not?
for.
They think they are. They have been
Well, they're
telling
not.
everyone.
No, you're
You're
They're
talking
not.
about two different teams.
Well, Memphis.
You're talking about Memphis.
Memphis.
I'm
Yes.
talking about Memphis.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Phoenix.
No,
I'm
we're all talking about Memphis. Yeah.
And you're telling me
Now
that
who's
they're
not
far
listed?
away?
Yeah, they're the two
no,
seed.
No,
They're just the
I'm
two
saying
seed.
with Josh suspended for 50 games,
Oh.
So-
they would be the last. They might be like, oh, this is going to be a long one.
Maybe.
Okay.
But if I'm Chris,
Boston is, you could sell me on Boston because
Yeah.
he doesn't need to carry the load. Just give the guys the ball in the right spot. Who are the guys? Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Williams. I could see that.
The other big question for me would be this: we're all going, oh, he'd accept a bench role.
I'm not. Don't say you're all.
What about the off the court role? Because you damn well better know for sure that the person Chris has been in every NBA locker room he has ever frequented, he better not be that person here. You cannot come in and be alpha jerk on the Golden State Warriors with who they've already got in there.
Do you
There is
believe that
no room
players
for
can
that.
change? That players, when they get to the end of their career, can change their role and change
totally agree with that,
change
Dibs.
their personality to the
Yes.
extent where you could, if Chris Paul wants to go to a winning organization and win, do you think that he can become a different person at 38 years old?
I don't know about him. Your general sense, I would say yes, it has happened.
Yeah.
We have watched players do it. David West is one who comes to mind first. There's a number of them. But I don't know if Chris, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
still
know if-
think
and I
he
don't-
thinks he's up
right,
there.
I don't remember. We're coming
Steph
off.
can find that out in a text.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
And here's the other thing, and here's where I am with Dibley. The fans, you don't matter in this particular instance. That's why we had to get rid of Monte Ellis, and you hated it, but it worked out. So that's like,
But that was basketball opinion stuff. I think they matter from the standpoint of you're bringing in someone they don't like, and he better be fantastic, or else then you've got egg on your face.
Well, they
one
brought in
sentence-
DeMarcus Cousins.
One sentence
No,
from
that's
Steph
not-
Curry
that's not Chris Paul to me.
fixes everything. This is a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steph Curry
Maybe.
says, it's a great idea. I talked to
Again,
CP3. I mean, everything's got to be, he's got to be all in and all that stuff.
Yeah. And
You're
before we
right.
throw too much dirt on Chris Paul's career, he played a grand total of 52 fewer minutes than Steph Curry this year.
Great. Great.
He played more
I'm
games
not-
than Steph
I'm not
this
talking-
year.
the most
I don't
important
care
game
about
he was
Minutes. He played
unavailable.
52
Yeah.
fewer
I
minutes
don't-
in the regular season.
I
So
don't-
let's just not say that he's washed or he's broken.
totally washed.
Dibs.
That's,
This is
that's a
not-
nonsensical take,
No,
in my opinion.
It's not about minutes or games. It's about effectiveness.
No doubt.
I watched them play.
I
Look what
watched every
happened.
Suns game this
You
year.
didn't.
Ga-
You didn't.
League pass, hello.
You didn't.
I think
I didn't miss a
Listen,
dribble.
This guy,
I think washed is strong.
The Phoenix Suns.
Definitely.
They're
the
telling
Phoenix
him to go
Suns-
bye-bye.
No, they're not.
You guys.
They're telling him he's not worth $60 million.
The Phoenix Suns were the clear NBA favorite 11 and a half months ago, and they've been a disaster from that moment forward. and he's a major reason why.
The biggest piece of the pie.
His fall off is a massive reason.
Steiny, you smiling, but you agree.
It's a massive reason why.
I don't agree either.
Washed.
All right, I'll meet you halfway. But Willard, you are right, my friend.
Washed
It's
is
just
too
not
strong.
okay. Fine, use a different word. He's
like all the
Declining.
Warriors. He's
He's
declining.
declining.
Yeah.
He's declining.
Oh,
In a
gosh.
rapid, but he's 38.
They're all
think-
And
declining.
this ain't
Hold
no
on, hold
LeBron
on.
James
I didn't-
38.
I didn't say
now,
degrees.
here we go. No,
I
you
didn't
did.
say levels.
Yeah, you did because
They're all declining.
Beat me.
Okay, if you think the Chris Paul decline is anywhere near the Steph Clay Dre decline,
I didn't say that.
okay.
Oh, yeah,
I just
okay.
said they're all declining.
Not like he is.
Ah!
Not like
I
he
put
is.
a period on the end of my sentence.
Does Chris Paul have one more year in the association where he can play close to what he did last year?
I know.
Which was 14 and 9 in
was-
30 minutes a
Is he going to
night?
miss his last 3 playoff games?
Yeah,
dude?
it was
He might
not
have led the
good.
league in assists per minute.
That's you're saying
For
no.
36, yeah.
That killed Phoenix.
Next thing
They
these
had
guys
no
are going to say,
chance when
Dibs,
he
is,
got hurt.
let me
But
guess,
when he
he's a
was healthy-
turnover machine now.
No, I'm talking about Denver. The series was over at the moment we found out he was unavailable.
Did the Phoenix Suns overachieve or underachieve this year?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Well, they overachieved because they got Durant.
No, they wildly underachieved. They were the Western Conference favorite until 3 weeks ago.
Till they got Durant. So, and we're going to blame Chris Paul. So you get one of the most singular offensive forces in history, and you lose because of your point guard? That's unfair.
Nobody was beating Denver.
No, nobody's beating Denver
What if I
this
told
year.
you-
but we all thought they were.
Oh, I didn't.
What do you give me for this? I feel like
Please.
They
Chris
were the
Paul
Western
is
Conference
where
favorite.
Iguodala is at in his career.
Wait, what?
Iggy, Chris, they're about the same.
I
Oh,
wouldn't,
that-
I
you know
wouldn't go
what?
that
That
far.
is
Iggy did-
wildly
Iggy
disrespectful.
didn't play
We got a
because he
meeting.
was hurt. Yeah, he didn't play because he was
Chris
hurt.
Paul played 60 games
I'm-
last
the
year.
last
Iguodala
three,
played
he was
6.
unavailable.
I'm gonna
Man.
text my guy. I'll text my guy. We'll get an answer. I'll text my guy.
Oh, John Bloom?
No,
John Blum?
no. And even if it was him, you're not supposed to say it out loud. It kind of ruins the whole thing.
Well, I mean,
Remind me to start
whatever.
the show tomorrow with that.
With what?
Comparing Chris Paul to Andre
That was
Iguodala. That's
scandalous.
egregious.
I'll send you a text.
Kerry Washington, that was scandal.
But you won't read it.
That's a four.
I'll
dude.
take
You
it
have
on
to
your way
remind
out.
me.
Thank
You
you.
I can read it, but no one will
formerly
listen
married
because
to
I'm not on the.
Asma.
Here we go.
Namdi.